Okay, we're going to close this out. We're going to work for, I believe, B, C, and D in this problem. So we've already read all this previously. What we want to do is compute the estimated IRR of Plan A. So what we need to do is we need to look at our spreadsheet and figure out how we need to approach this. Now, when you're trying to find the initial rate, let me tell you what page so you can look at this. Page 1483, the IRR, which is the internal rate of return. So here we're going to work this a little bit backwards. We know that the initial investment equals the amount of cash inflow. We know the amount of cash inflow is $1,525,000 times the annuity present value factor. We know that N is 10, but we do not know what the internal rate of return is. So we're going to have to kind of work this one backwards. And it shows you how you can, on page 1483, how you can find the rate of return by taking the initial investment and dividing by the amount of each net cash inflow. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the initial investment, which I believe was $8,600,000. This is for Plan A, and divide by the amount of each net cash inflow, which was $1,525,000. So if you do that, you will get a number, and that will help us go look at the annuity table and figure out what the rate of return is. So make sure that you get those two numbers off of the homework, off the comprehensive problem. Those are given to you. And then once you put those in, you're going to divide. Let's put that formula in. This divided by this. And you're going to get a rate of return. And it's going to be a number. We want to round, I don't know, you can round to the third decimal place, to the thousandth place. And then what you need to do is we're working backwards here. We don't know the rate of return. We don't know the percentage of return. So we have to kind of look that up. And the way to do that is if you go and look in your textbook and scroll down, there's an Appendix A. And we would want the present value of an ordinary annuity. And we know it's 10 years. So whatever number you get, it's probably going to be between 4 and 9. When you get that number from your table in Excel right here, what you're going to do is you're going to pull that table up and you're going to look. Let's say your number is 8.2. Okay, well, 8.2 is going to be in between 3 and 4%. So we could say our IRR is between 3 and 4% because that is the percentage up here. But you're only going to be looking these numbers up in a 10 period going across here because our period is 10 years. That all these other numbers don't matter. So once you find where your number is, if it's 6.710, then we know automatically that the internal rate of return is 8%. If it's 6.3, then it's in between 9 and 10%. So you just have to find that number, go across until you find your number or find where your number falls in between, then look up at the percent. That may be a little bit confusing, but I explained that pretty well, so hopefully you will get that with no trouble. And then explain. And the explaining would be because my number is in between this number and this number, the internal rate of return must be between this percentage and this percentage. So you're going to use that table. Now, requirement 4C, let's look at it. Requirement 4C. Use Excel to verify the net present value calculations in requirement 4A and the actual internal rate of return for the two plans. How does the IRR of each plan compare with the company's required rate of return? We want a required rate of return of 10%. So we're comparing it to that number. So I have set this up for you, and this will make it a lot easier for you. But we're comparing Plan A and Plan B here. So I've already filled all of this out. Now I have not filled out your inflows over here for 8 million except for this last one. Now if you remember correctly, your inflows are 1,100,000 every single year except for your last year. It's going to be 1,100,000 plus your residual value, which is 980,000. So that's why I went ahead and filled that in. But you can fill in 1,100,000 for all of these. So what you need to do is look in your book on page 1487, and it goes through how to do the net present value formula in Excel, okay? But I am going to show you how to do Plan A, how to calculate that. So you want to know the net present value of all of these payments of all these inflows, but we have to subtract out the outflow or add the negative. This is negative because it is an outflow. So we want all our inflows and outflows. So the way you do this is you put equals net present value and you put a parenthesis, and we want the discount rate, which is 10%. And then we want a comma, and we want the net present value of all these inflows plus the outflow that we have. So I need to press plus and then the outflow. And then you can press enter and you will see that the net present value is 770,465. Now if yours looks like something like this, you get this long decimal, you need to use the decimal, move it until you get cents, so you have 84 cents, so it's rounded right. Now, for the IRR, the way you do that, you can find this on page 1488. You want the internal rate of return, so you're going to do equals IRR, comma. And then we want to know the internal rate of return on all of this, our inflows and outflows. And you can see that our IRR is 12.05%. Now, if you end up with a long decimal, you increase or decrease the decimal until it's 2 decimal places. Now, you will do the same thing over here. I'm going to delete those formulas because I want you to be able to do them. All you have to do is replay them. But notice that the IRR was 12.05%. That is greater than the 10% that the company requires. So that is good. We want our rate of return to equal the required rate of return of the company, which they told us was 10%. Okay, I'm not sure what happened.